So, what did you think about that? Okay, so certainly I would not finish out this course without giving you some food for thought and some encouragement around being the best you that you can be on this journey. Because as you complete this course, and I no longer have the influence that I have on you to help you do that, I wanted you to close out with knowing that no matter what it is that you decide to do, whether you decide to take a new job or new opportunity, whether you decide to become an entrepreneur and launch out and do something new and exciting, there will be times and opportunities that will come along and you will have to make a choice on how you will respond to them. And so I wanted to leave you with a video that gives you tools on how to respond, how to reframe your beliefs, how to respond to negative situations that come along as you go and execute your new plans. Along the way, things won't happen as you expect them to in some cases. And I don't want you to then take that failure or take that response, take that feedback, and let it completely derail you. The best thing to do is to have a mindset that says, this does not completely define me. This does not completely derail me. And I get to choose how I respond to it. So I hope you appreciated having that video to help you as you launch into your testing of your opportunities. Please revisit that video often if you need to remind yourself as you go through the testing phase of your ideas about what it takes to get through this. Because as I mentioned to you in prior sections, this is not just a warm and fuzzy creative course. This is also practical skills on how to get through any change. And part of that is reframing your beliefs. So let's just get into this. What does this journey actually look like? A big part of this is engaging your team. And I want you to take just a quick second to start to see the shift that is occurring from engaging influencers in the beginning to now engaging influencers as your team. I mentioned this earlier, but during this testing phase, I want to mention it once more. I've done this is now showing that he believes in you or she believes in you and are invested in your success. So during this testing phase, engage this person. This person is going to help you get through it. Okay. I need this are going to give you honest feedback on your offerings and keep you customer focused, whether that as an employee or that is as a entrepreneur. You're going to need these people to give you honest feedback. Think about the last time you had an employee review or 360 review. If you've ever had a great boss, you know that a great boss can tell you how you're not or underperforming, how you're not performing or underperforming. And you can receive that in a way that makes you want to run out and do things better and to become your best because you know they have your best interest in mind. The same is with this individual. This person is now part of your team and you want and value their feedback because they're going to help you refine what it is that you offer either as an employee or if this person is a recipient of your entrepreneurial services, the same is true in this case. Okay. And then I can help. These are people who are going to continue to provide you support with the skills that they offer and are willing to help beyond what you can offer them in exchange. They are continuing to help you and support you, and you want to work to be able to provide them a meaningful exchange for their help. So think of this group. They once were influencers that you wanted just to get their story, or you wanted to just hear from them and see what they have experienced. Now they're a part of your team. They have transitioned and they have accepted that role in your team. So be grateful for them and always supportive of their place in your team. Okay. So now we know who's going to help you. Now we want to talk about what this looks like and the chaos that may ensue, right? So remember in the very first section where we were introducing design thinking and what those phases look like? Seemed very normal and natural, and it seemed very linear, and that we could go from phase to phase to phase. Well, now what does it look like? Not very linear at all, right? It looks more like a cycle. And that is exactly what it is. In this test phase, you're going to actually see how much this is a cycle. And you'll see how when you move from empathize to define, there may be opportunities that you see. Testing reveals the reality of the plan isn't aligned to your views and interests. What happened here? So I want you, I'm not going to go through each one of these steps. I want you to refer back to this. This is where you go first. This is what you refer back to. If you are in prototype and you're running into some challenges, I want you to come back to this slide and I want you to say, hey, what do I do if I'm running into challenges at the prototype phase? Should I go back to ideate? Should I go back and brainstorm new and creative options to solve challenges? This slide is everything that we have been talking about the entire time. This slide says, I do not get stuck. I start over. I ideate. I refine. I reframe. I don't allow feedback to stop me. I allow feedback to redirect me. Okay? So this is the slide that I want you to go through in your test phase. Now, naturally, I'd love for each and every one of you to be a client of mine for coaching, and you could come to me and I would walk you through some thoughts on each one of these slides that are specific and pertaining to your specific situation. But in lieu of that, each one of you have this slide to be able to refer to. In lieu of coaching. And if you need coaching, certainly reach out to me and we can work something out. But in lieu of that, you have this as an alternative. Okay. So this is what you do when you need to pivot. And finally, we're getting to the end here, you guys. I don't want to hold you much longer than this, but at the end here, we want to talk about reframing failures. They are happening. They will happen. Now, all of us have a different definition of failure, so I'm going to give you mine. A failure is when something does not occur as expected and has a negative outcome that you did not anticipate. That's my definition. That's not Webster's definition. That's not anyone else's. That's Christina's definition. So I failed if I had an unanticipated I had an expectation for this to go a certain way. It didn't go that way. And that way that it didn't go was negative. That's failure. Because the alternative to that is it didn't go as expected, but it was positive, and that's awesome. So unless it was a negative, negative, if I'm sorry, unless there was a negative associated with it, then it wasn't a failure. So whatever your definition of failure is, I'm pretty sure it comes along with some negative feelings, if nothing else. And so we need to deal with that part of it. And the way you deal with that is to be a little bit logical about how you view failures, right? And the way I'm going to suggest that you deal with failures is to start to track them so that you can reframe them. And I've given you a little grid here. You can recreate this grid on a sheet of paper. But what you do is you write out 5 columns across, one being your failure itself, and then some alternatives, whether it was a screw up, a weakness, growth opportunity, and then the insights that come along with it, right? Now you'll see across the top here, I've given you some explanations for what each of these mean in simple terms. Okay. So for me, a screw up is something that was a simple mistake. Just a simple mistake. I forgot to lock the door. I walked out the house and I forgot to lock the door. Okay, it was a simple mistake. A weakness is I forgot to lock the door every single day this week. Okay, that's different. This is a repeated thing. For some reason, I just leave out the house and I don't lock the door. I'm not sure what it is. Growth opportunity is something I can fix. So, what can I do? Is there something I can do about this? Is there something I can do? Which there are lots of things that I can do about locking the door, like putting a automated door lock on my door, and that way I can lock the door from my phone, right? I can check later to see if the door was locked and lock it from my phone. So there are things I can put security systems in that lock the door at a certain time. There are things that I can do. The point being, you should be able to note what it is. What was the failure? Was it was it a screw up? Was it a weakness? And is it a growth opportunity? Which was it? Because if there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, then it was just a screw up, right? And you just have to not try not to do that again. And what insights can you gain from that? The box here gives you a little bit of example. Sorry, gives you an example of what a reframe of failures would look like for an individual. So look at line one where Lisa's birthday gift was 1 week late, right? Mm, that's a screw up. Last minute budget weakness. Apparently, this person is bad with budgets. They just don't get the budgets done in time. Phone surprise, growth opportunity. So in this case, what can I do differently? I can start the call with, sorry, start the call. I can't read that. Sorry. Start the call. I'm assuming that says early and with an agenda. And then, of course, termite thieves, it says, and that's a screw up, right? So these are just cute little examples that I pulled from Bill Burnett's site on things to help us explain concepts. But it's a cute little example. And what I want you to pull from this is when you're thinking about what your failures are, some of them are going to be work related, some of them are going to be life related. I want you to be a whole person and holistic. And I also want you to be realistic about things that you can improve, right? Where can I improve things? Be honest, be realistic, um, and then categorize them. So there's 3 steps here that I've outlined that you can do when learning to reframe your failures. The first being make a habit of logging them. The second being categorizing them for screw ups, weaknesses, or growth opportunities. And then identify the growth insights from it. And to tie this back to your plans, tie it back to design thinking, tie it back to creating opportunities and designing the next chapter. How does this fit, Christina? Well, here's how it fits. As you embark upon executing this plan and you encounter some challenges, some failures that you encounter along the way, you will have to, like I said in the beginning when we watched the video, first challenge how you think about those failures. Are they the kinds of failures? Are you the kind of persons are that will allow those failures to completely derail you and, take you, create a setback for you? I'm sorry. What kind of person are you? And do you have the interpersonal skills to rebound from that? If you have moved past the interpersonal side, you have the skills, and now you're ready to do something tangible about it, this is the tangible side of it. This is what you can do to make sure that you are noting what it is that's failing and creating some insights from it, right? So for me, if I want to become a travel blogger And I find that the one thing that I'm doing wrong is not getting to the airport in time. And I'm finding it's a fixable mistake. I can do something about that. I don't want to miss my flights. I don't want to have things that are fixable become a problem or a challenge for me. All of our plans are going to encounter challenges. What we choose to do and what we choose to fix is also an option for us, right? So, this is one way of doing it. Certainly, there are other ways, and I encourage you to look up other ways. I wanted to give you these options when testing your plan over the 5 years. A few other tidbits that I want to give people from my time as a change manager when we're executing things that work. Have an accountability team. Have an accountability team. We've talked about teams already, but when you have an accountability team that is not just a friend or family member, these people are setting goals with you, and these people are holding you accountable to meeting those goals. So if you wrote out your 5 year plan and at some point you want, I'm sorry, your accountability team at some point is going to hold you to year one. What happened in year one? What did we accomplish? What didn't we accomplish in year one? And it is not going to occur one time a year. These people are going to meet with you maybe quarterly, and they're going to say, hey, talk to me about what we accomplished this quarter. How does it impact the rest of your plan? Are you on target for year two? These are the types of things that having a coach, someone like me as an accountability partner and team, will help you to get through your plan, right? Through your 5 year plan. Pivoting. The second one is pivoting. So, knowing when to abandon the plan is all about setting some triggers. And when in the business world, we look at charts and graphs and we have, these different triggers that help us to understand when we should pull out, when we should move forward. You need those as well. Okay. So you should set some triggers that say, hey, if I start this plan and I get through year two and I just haven't seemed to make this amount of progress by year two, this triggers me moving to the next. Okay. This just triggers me trying a new plan, but I'm going to give it my best, give it my all, stay with my accountability team, stay with my plan until this point, and I've worked through everything that I can do, and I'm giving it my all. And if this occurs, this is my trigger. So set triggers, okay? These are the things that need to, if these things occur, I will do this. I will trigger, they will trigger me moving to a different scenario. Okay. I really enjoyed delivering this course for you all. I enjoy delivering courses in similar fashion for you all to help you learn ways to make changes. I hope you enjoyed this course. If you have any feedback for me or our team, please feel free to leave that feedback at info@changeteak.com. That's info@changeteak.com. I would like to hear any of that about how we can do better. Or if you just have, feedback for in general for us, opportunities for us, or just to say that you enjoyed the course. I'd like to hear feedback from you in any scenario. So thank you so much for taking the course, and I hope to see you in another course soon.